Whatever cooling solution makes the most sense, Green Heating and Cooling is ready to help. Whether you need a quick fix or an entirely new cooling system, Green will do whatever it takes for your family's comfort. With Green, you get more than just a technician. You get someone who's committed to meeting your needs and achieving a high level of training and skills. Someone backed by outstanding products from one of the industry's most trusted names, Bryant. Nobody understands the ins and outs of home comfort like Green. So whatever your situation or budget, Green Heating and Cooling has a solution for you. Bryant, whatever it takes.
You snoozed twice this morning, spilled your coffee once, and you've already blamed last night's referee for your morning mood.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's time to embrace the chaos and step into the madness.
Bro, you about to see a side of me you didn't even know existed.
Featuring guests who are over-caffeinated and less reasonable than the average person.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Come on, man. Are you serious? Ugh.
Fans, where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Welcome to the show.
So buckle up. It's time for hot takes and hot mics. This is the Morning Rant, where the only thing more unpredictable is Dave before his third cup of coffee.
I just felt like running.
On WPGY, the Sports Pig.
Break out the brooms, baby. The Atlanta Braves sweeping the Phillies, always a great thing. Hey, welcome into the Morning Rant. It's a Monday morning quarterback edition brought to you by your friends at Foundation Wealth in Dalton. Dave Garner with you alongside two-time All-American and former Buffalo Bill John Davis. Again, appreciate your partner being with us right here once again on another Monday morning. Looking good, man.
Well, I appreciate it. Looking forward to the week. Got a little purpose in my step. I'm on the radio with you, and loving that the Braves are off to a great start.
Yeah, you're looking good, man. You're sounding good today because you went out and invested in some headphones, man. I see that. You got the wraparound mic, man. You're looking totally professional this morning. So,
as long as the sound's coming through good, I'm good.
Yeah, no, it's sounding good right now. You got the Gilmer High shirt on here today, man. I'm rocking Adidas and Nike, man. That's how I'm feeling today. Got it all going on right here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the show. What's up, North Georgia? Thanks for being with us right here. Hey, a lot of stuff to dive into. We are going to talk a lot about football. Of course, we're here with Big John Davis, and so, of course, we're going to chop it up. NFL draft later this week. We're going to touch on that, but you had some insider information, and we're going to talk about it later in the show as well. You were at the Georgia Tech spring game on Saturday. I know you had a big event on Friday night that we're going to talk about as well, but, man, your initial thoughts on the Jackets and spring practice now as things get wrapped up?
There's a lot of excitement. Friday night we had the barbecue, which we'll talk about. A lot of letter winners came and got to interact with some of the football players. Met a really fantastic young man, Ronnie Thomas, who is the long snapper. Yeah. And, of course, I stuck my foot in my mouth because I looked at him and I said, "Are you with the video or our manager?" And he's like, "No, I'm a long snapper." And I said, "You know what, dude? I used to be a long snapper." Yeah. And the kid got up and gave me a hug, and he's like, "Dude, we got to stick together." And right. But the kids there are just unbelievable. They interacted with us, showed us a lot of love, and we're just excited. There's just a different feeling down there right now.
What is it about long snappers that lend themselves to being the most unathletic looking guys on a football team? I mean, it's the guy you got to have, right? You got to have a long snapper. I mean, it's one of those things. They're considered a specialist. I know sometimes they can be. Traditionally, their natural position can be either a tight end or an offensive lineman or what have you. But, those guys are the unsung heroes because think about it. You mess up one time, I mean, you lose your job, in a lot of cases.
You're exactly right. And, they touch the ball anywhere from maybe 8 to 15 times a game. Yeah. And they're responsible, right? But this young man's unbelievable. He's like a GQ guy. He's a good-looking guy. He's well-spoken, and he could have looked at me and told me to, go somewhere. Right. When I said the video thing, but he didn't. He embraced us, especially with my teammate Dean Waters, who is the center at my freshman year, and we were all talking. So, you touch the ball 8 to 15 times a game. That's a lot of pressure. I don't think people really realize that. Yeah. And I texted him after the spring game, and I said, "Son, I said there was one snap that was about 2 inches off. We got to work on that.
We got to work on that one. I'm telling you, man, your job's on the line right here. Hey, again, a big weekend, spring football practice. Georgia Tech, of course, wrapping up on the flats. UGA with their red and black game as well on Saturday over in Athens. Of course, we talked a little bit about, Alabama wrapping up last weekend, so a lot of college football talk that we'll touch on later in the show as well. John, you and I were talking before we got on the air today about golf. What a finish yesterday over in Hilton Head. Again, Scotty Scheffler forcing a playoff against Fitzpatrick, one of your favorite guys, and it was Fitzpatrick, though, able to pull it out.
I've always wanted to play that course. I've played one on the island before, but not that one. And Novak or whoever it was came on, and they asked him what they liked about that course. And he said the thing that they like, and a lot of the golfers like, is that you got to be able to shape it left or right. And you got to get it in the fairway.
Right. Yeah.
And, of course, Scheffler, charged back, made a birdie on 18, or maybe it was 17. And then they went to the playoff. And then I'm a big Fitzpatrick fan, and great guy, great competitor, and I was happy to see him win.
Of course, a big weekend, obviously, for the NHL, the NBA playoffs, of course, underway. So we'll touch on that, too, really throughout the week.
Sabres?
Yeah, man, the Buffalo got the win last night, scored a late goal there with just a few seconds left.
Yeah,
and then they ended up hitting a couple more there inside the final minute. Man, it was a crazy finish to that game against the Bruins there. And, I saw some of the video from the weekend of some of the fans beforehand, and you had guys that were like in full outfit. They were on rollerblades though, not ice blades, and they were on and they were beating and tackling like dummies, like fake Boston Bruin done up mannequins or whatever. And I was like, yeah, man, that's the mafia right there, just trickling right over.
Exactly, from Orchard Park to downtown Buffalo.
Yeah,
and they've waited 18 years for this to happen in downtown. And I'm so happy for him. And my buddy Mark Butler and Jim, and they're having a ball. Because they finally got somebody to cheer for in the wintertime.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah, the Sabres, man. I mean, Buffalo's showing out right now, and again, things looking up in that area, man, between the Bills and the Sabres there. And we'll talk about that, of course. Yeah, Hawks, losing game 1 the other night, game 2 tonight at 8 o'clock, that one on NBC. And again, size, we saw that maybe playing out a little bit there, or lack thereof for the Hawks. Again, New York able to take advantage of some different areas of that game. But I was still pretty impressed with the way the Hawks played overall. They're very gritty, as we know, very hardy team. And so, again, defensively, going to have to clamp down. They did a pretty good job for the most part the other night, particularly on Brunson, some of those guys there, not letting them completely go off. But again, just not enough offense down the stretch, out of that Hawks team. So hopefully they'll get it back tonight. Again, game 2 in New York tonight at 8 o'clock.
I have to trust what you just said, because I didn't watch.
There you go.
And I'm sorry.
Well, you had a good reason, though. The reason is because you were down at Tech all weekend, man. You had a lot of things going on right there. And I kind of wanted to talk about it, right now here in this first segment, because you had a busy weekend, like we said, at the spring game, of course, on Saturday. But really, everything got started for you on Friday night. Y'all had a big barbecue with a lot of the former players there catching up. I mean, what's it like when you go back? Because you tend to go back, a good bit, here and there. But talk about that event. Talk about some of the people you met. I know you were tight with Coach Curry, your years at Georgia Tech, and you've remained tight over the years. But, yeah, man, lay it out for us. How did that Friday look?
I love Coach Curry. He's like a father figure to me, but it's Brent Key bought it back, and have a barbecue on the eve of the spring game, and we get together. We probably, I'm going to say 120 former letter winners came for practice and for the barbecue. It was great to see a lot of old teammates. I haven't seen Kent Hill, who was a great lineman for Georgia Tech, and also was a Pro Bowler for the Rams and played for Houston as a teammate of mine.
Right.
And I got to spend about 30 minutes with him, which was a lot of fun. My former center, my freshman year, Dean Waters, we call him Zulu. great catching up with him. Great linebacker Jim Anderson with the Black Watch.
Right. Oh yeah.
And my offensive line, Dean Weaver, Robert Massey, tight end, my roommates, and it's just so much fun. But I tell you what, I was so impressed with is that the players were very active with us, and they were just like, dude, we want you here.
Right.
We want you to be a part of us. And what we're doing is because of you. And it really made us feel very welcomed and great. And, it feels like the old Georgia Tech. And I credit Brent Key with that and the new AD. And I'm sorry I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But what an impressive young man. And he's got a great vision for Georgia Tech athletics. And it's just a really exciting time right now. Hey, dude, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go, That grass smelled good, and I'm ready to get out there.
Yeah, Ryan Alpert.
And I would say this. As bad as my body hurts right now, I feel like $1 million. I got some purpose in me, and I'm ready to put it all behind Georgia Tech. Gilmer County, Coach Paul Standard. I talked to him last night. He's excited. So I'm. It's a good day.
Tying it back in local, you got this aura around you here today, man. I
want everybody to have
I can see it. I can see that glow here today. Ryan Alpert, of course, the new AD at Tech.
Ryan, I'm sorry.
And doing a great job. And we talked about it. I mean, it makes you wonder why there are some coaches that embrace alumni more than others, but why wouldn't you? I mean, to me, it seems like it's the number one recruiting tool. I mean, when you've got all those former players coming back on the sideline and being involved in the program, what better recruiting is there?
Dave, we went through many years, and I'm not saying anything bad about the former coaches, but Paul Johnson never really welcomed us back.
Yeah.
Jeff Collins never really welcomed us back. He didn't want us any part of it. And, we are a revenue generator, letter winners, even outside of the academic alumni and stuff. So, Brent has he's just developed a unique talent to bring everybody together because in most fan bases you're about 50-50. And Georgia Tech in a way is about 50-50 because you got your pre-national champions in 1990 and then you have your post-1990 fans, and as an older guy you get really frustrated with the post alumni or fans because we're not going to win a championship every year. It's proven. I mean, we win one every 25 years, and so we might be coming up on one because as you know, the game's changed. But he's done a unique. And we'll talk about it after the break. But we also had a roundtable on Saturday morning before the spring game with Bill Curry, Josh Nesbitt, Morgan Burnett, Roddy Jones. And Randy Rhino, the great Randy Rhino, and you should have seen that there was about 200 people in that place in the Bill Moore Student Center or next to the stadium. Brent came in and he stole the show. It's unbelievable.
We're definitely going to talk about that after the break. I still don't know how in the hell they gave Colorado a share of that championship when they went 9-1-1. That year.
So remind me of that in the next break, and I'm going to tell you my interaction with Coach McCartney at a golf tournament.
There we go. We're going to talk about it. You're not going to want to miss it right here. There we go. Monday Morning Rant coming your way right here on this Monday morning quarterback segment of the Morning Rant. Hey, we are the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Financial scams are on the rise, and with AI, they're getting more and more sophisticated every day. If someone pressures you to act quickly, ask for secrecy, or request payment through gift cards, wire transfers, or cryptocurrency, stop. Legitimate financial professionals don't rush you or demand unusual payment methods. Before you send money or share personal information, slow down and verify. Protect your future. When in doubt, ask questions.
If you're suspicious of a scam, call the team at Foundation Wealth today at 706-278-0214.
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, your official home for flag-to-flag coverage of NASCAR. Big opinions of the big games. from the big mouths.
Man, I think it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the Morning Rant on WPGY, the Sports Pig, North Georgia's home for ESPN Radio.
Sit down.
Back here on a Monday morning with you right here again, the Morning Rant on social media. Again, the Sports Pig on Facebook, our show, The Morning Rant, on Instagram. You can also watch full video episodes of the show daily on YouTube. The podcast version of The Morning Rant's also available on sportspigradio.com and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms, including Spotify and Podbean. You can also catch me on Twitter at Dave Garner 777. He's at John Davis _65, and this is The Morning Rant. Hey, we're here on the home of ESPN Radio. It was a busy sports weekend, a lot of different things going on there, but our focus today really is on college football. Spring games wrapping up here locally. A big experience for you, Big John, being down in where it feels like home to you, man, on the flats down there at Georgia Tech. We were talking before the break about the 1990. I mean, that national championship, some conversations that you had and everything, and I still think about that. I remember that year where it was like, okay, Colorado at 9-1-1. They win another game on a 5th down, for crying out loud, that didn't get caught by the officials. I mean, they should have been 8-2-1, and then Tech at 11-0-1. I mean, back then you had the UPI and the AP and all that. But anyway, but you had a story, I think, that went along with that too.
So I was invited to a golf tournament down at Doral, and I will say this: I parred one hole. And if anybody knows me, they know that I'm not a very good golfer. But my second shot was out of a sand trap, and I'll be damned if I didn't hit it to about 2 feet from the hole. How? I have no idea. And of course, you choke at a 2-foot putt, but for some reason, it just went in, for a par. But Bill McCartney was there. It's Dave, I forget the name of the club. It's not the Keepers, the Christian organization,
Comfort Keepers or something
like that. I forget, but he was in charge of it,
right?
And they invited me down and wanted me to be a part of it. So we went out and played golf. Well, I'm not going to let an opportunity go by without saying something. And this is about, I'm going to say it was about 20 years ago.
Okay.
And I said, Coach, what are your thoughts on that 5th down? I said, and of course, this is between you and me.
Yeah. and the listening audience.
It was a Christian organization, and I'm like, dude, I'm here. I want to support you, but you cheated.
Yeah.
It was the 5th. You had 5 downs. He just turned away and walked away. He didn't say a word. And
oh my goodness!
And I know I'm not a good person for doing that.
Yeah.
But I couldn't let it go by.
But you said that was what, 20 years ago, probably, or something like that.
Hopefully, I'm forgiven.
Hopefully, yeah. I was going to say you've had a lot of time to repent since then. So anyway,
well,
20
I
years
tell you
worth,
what, it still hurts. I told Coach Curry this weekend. I said the problem I have is that if we lose on Saturday, I hurt until the following Friday.
Oh yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, I do too.
Yeah. And, they always talk about that 24-hour rule, this, that, and the other, but there's no way. I mean, human nature. You're not going to let it go that easy.
Yeah, you know that. And a lot of those fans know that. There's no 24-hour rule.
Yeah.
You know, and if they say there is, there's not. I've played enough. Everybody's like, you lost Super Bowl 25. Big deal. Yeah, you know what? It still hurts today. So I still haven't forgot it.
Right, yeah. That pain doesn't just go away.
Besides 26, 27, and 28.
Well, yeah, and I wasn't going to go there, but yeah, there's a long-suffering Buffalo Bills fans out there, but they do love their team, no doubt about that. Hey, you were talking about, and then we were before the break, we were talking about Friday night and the Alumni and circling back with some of the players. Saturday, though, there was an outing as well before the spring game, which we'll get into in a minute because we're going to talk some strategy. We're going to talk some different things that you learned over the weekend, and we're going to dive into some Braves talk and some stuff later on the show, too. But lay out Saturday for us, man. You get down there a little bit early. You get a chance to catch up with some more guys, right? My
buddy, Pete Wellborn, invited me down to stay with him. We are to have breakfast at a Roundtable. Roddy Jones emceed it. Bill Curry, Randy Rhino, Morgan Burnett, and Josh Nesbitt were a part of it.
Yep.
And they were asking questions, which was a lot of fun. About 250 people showed up.
Wow. Yeah.
Brent Key walks in and steals the show.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to give you a little update about the team. And he starts talking about, defense this and defense that. And I go like this right here. And he's like, Davis, are you raising your hand?
Oh,
and
my
I
goodness.
said, yeah, I
Here we
am. I
go.
said, I don't care about defense. I want to know about the offensive line. And he looked at me. And he just kept talking about the defense.
Right.
he wasn't giving anything away.
Yeah, he wasn't going to give it away.
But listen, it was a great weekend for me because I got to spend some really quality time with Coach Curry, who I love.
Right.
We always seem to tell stories, and I told him, I said, why aren't I up on the panel? And he told me, well, John, he says, sometimes people don't need to know things.
You're right.
That's why,
you know what? Yeah.
I said, Coach, you're probably right.
That's why you've become a radio host because
Exactly.
you've got your style lends itself more to being right here on a show called The Morning Rant. I think more so than being on a panel somewhere. So that's it. You did have the opportunity too, I think, to talk to George Godsey as well, who's now back at Tech as the offensive coordinator. So I know you did get a chance to talk to him a little bit too.
George is great, and then we remember him holding up the three fingers. Well, my fingers aren't; they're crooked, but. On the Athens board when we beat them 3 years in a row. And George Godsey is a treasure. He's a great coach. He's been under a lot of leaders, and I'm just going to tell you what he told me. And I'm reading. I'm sorry if I not looking at the camera, but I asked him a question. He says, I think the easiest way to put it is that it'll be a player-driven scheme that will have multiple styles of play. And he goes on to say his background is from, Tom Brady, Lamar Jackson, Stafford, and he put in a little joke, the 10 quarterbacks he coached at Houston for 1 year.
Right, yeah.
So basically what he's saying, if you look at it, it'll be a player-driven scheme that will have multiple styles of play, which tells me good luck to the defenses that we play against because he's going to throw the book at them, and that's what's so exciting. Right, is that we're as fans we're not going to know what the hell's going on because he's just changing it all up, and what he's saying is basically we have the talent to run the option. Yeah, to run a smash mouth game, to run a counter game, right, and a passing game. Sure, and so he's going to throw it all at him, and it does. And you've been around it for 30 years. Defenses, when you have to waste 3 days trying to figure out, okay, what the hell are they going to do? Right. Game planning comes into play. Yeah, exactly. I love it. Yeah. I told you know what I told them? I said, God, that's exciting. Thank you. I am. Yeah. We are so pumped up.
I think the biggest thing, offensively, as many looks and as many things as you can make an opposing defense have to prepare for every week. Right. Puts a lot more strain on that side of the ball to have to get ready. So
and you see it every week with the games that you call. Oh yeah. And I just got up. I was texting my good friend Greg Jarrett. I've been fortunate enough. Greg has a suite at the games, and he graciously has asked me to come in and sit with him, and I love him. He's done such a big supporter, he and his wife, of Georgia Tech, and he brings in some former players and people and everything. But I was telling Greg, it's going to be exciting. This is going to be a lot of fun, and he is I tell you what, there's no other passionate fan besides Greg. He's all in, and he's like us. He hurts until the next game. Right. And then he's excited until the next game. Oh yeah. He goes to all the games, and he's got a great family, and I've met a lot of other sidewalk fans in there as well. But it's a great experience. But I got to give some love to Greg because he's a true Tech guy, and it's always fun to be around him.
You're talking talking about true Tech guys, and I remember, taking my kids to their first game, years ago. Josh Nesbitt was quarterback. Morgan Burnett, who of course I ended up being a big fan of because he played for my Green Bay Packers for a while and everything. And a lot of Roddy. I tell you what, Roddy has made quite a career for himself as a broadcaster. By the way, he's really stepping into the big leagues there. He's done very well. But I guess my question is how not important necessarily, but how special is it that you've got a lot of former, to me, this is a very organic program, and that Brent Key played at Georgia Tech. George Godsey played at Georgia Tech. These are Tech guys, right? So much like, people talk about Kirby being at Georgia, you've got a similar situation, obviously, on the flats where you've got some former Georgia Tech guys at Tech that seem to be pretty comfortable and seem to be guys that could maybe stay there a long time if things go well.
Well, I hate to say this, but I've always wanted a Tech man to coach Georgia Tech because you got to know you've got to know what it's like to go to Georgia Tech and do the academics and do the 7 a.m. chemistry classes and then do the 9 a.m. practices or vice versa.
Right. Yeah.
It takes a special person. That's not taking away anything from Paul Johnson or Chan Gailey or any of them, but Brent Key gets it. And that's why that's why it's so exciting, is because he's bringing these kids. Hey, Dave, guess what? Let me tell you something. You know what our GPA was last semester?
Tell me.
As a team was 3.2.
Wow. That's impressive. Yeah.
That's not.
You're not going to get that everywhere, especially with the rigorous, curriculum and so forth.
Chemistry,
Georgia
physics.
Tech. Yeah. Right.
And I'm not saying all those kids. Well, as a student, you have to take chemistry and physics to get through Tech. That no matter what.
Right. Yeah.
But they go on to other classes and everything. But he's got those kids buying in and talking to those kids Friday night. I'm looking at them and I'm like, damn, these are. These are special kids.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And if I can, before let's see, we got a minute or so. The thing that makes Georgia Tech so special, and I got to spend time with Bill Curry on Coach Curry, on Saturday morning. The thing that makes Georgia Tech so special are the sidewalk fans.
Oh yeah,
because know this, it's hard to be a Georgia Tech fan. It's hard to just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to move to Atlanta and be a Georgia Tech fan when you've got that other school over there east of us and that you could easily be a fan of theirs.
Right, yeah.
But, I talk to people. Bill Fincher, who is my agent, he parks right in front of the Jewish fraternity house, and I'd love to go visit him and all the people that he brings.
Sure.
Dave, they're walking down, and I might have said this before, but I would say 75-80% of those people might not know that my name's John Davis.
Yeah, right.
But they know who the refrigerator.
They know who the refrigerator mover is. That's right.
And that just and he's like, son, I watched this kid block William Perry in 1984. This is the refrigerator mover.
There you go.
And Saturday morning at the Roundtable was very. I don't know. It was just very satisfying for me because I probably had 40 or 50 people come up to me and say, you're the legend.
Yeah. There you go.
You're the refrigerator mover. I watched you play. I appreciate everything you did. And, I'm sorry, but that makes me feel pretty good.
Hey, it should. I was showing my wife a picture over the weekend of you blocking for Thurman Thomas. There's if you Google, John Davis, and you hit the images, it pops up different things there, and so she was so impressed by that because
as long as they're good images.
Oh, they're good images. Yeah, you got good form, man. You're pushing that dude out of the way. So yeah,
I wasn't holding. Hopefully.
No, you weren't holding. You didn't have any grip on anything there. But it was a lot of fun there. But no, obviously chopping it up right here with Big John Davis right here on the Morning Rant. Hey, we're up against our second break. When we come back, we'll actually talk a little bit about the on-field product, and of course, we'll dive into some Braves talk and some other things as well. Right here on the back half of the Morning Rant coming up. Again, we are the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia on the Sports Pig app and online at sportspigradio.com.
Welcome to your hometown pub. Open 7 days a week. The pub in Ella J is your happy Happy Hour Hangout. They offer a variety of dishes to satisfy every palate, and their friendly staff is here to ensure a wonderful time. Join them for daily happy hour specials Monday through Thursday. And don't forget, every Wednesday is Wing Wednesday with $1 wings all day long. Located at 941 Maddox Drive in East Ellijay. Open Sunday through Wednesday till midnight, Thursday through Saturday till 2 a.m. The Pub in Ellijay, where every visit feels like home.
Grand Slam!
98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball. We bring the heat, you bring the trash talk.
Come on, man. Are you serious?
It's the Morning Rant, live on the Sports Pig app and sportspigradio.com.
Back here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner with you till 11 o'clock. Chuck Oliver coming up, the king of college football with Southern Sports Today at the top of the hour right here on Sports Pig. Again, Sports Pig Radio, and also download the app. Again, sportspigradio.com. Here with Big John Davis, chopping it up on a Monday. Of course, on Wednesday, when we come back, we will have, of course, our Memory Lane with the Refrigerator Mover segment for you right here on the program. Of course, John always takes us down memory lane, tells us some stories and things that you guys want to know as we bring you a different perspective right here. And I do want to say that the show is really catching on. I mean, as we talked about last week, we had a lot of downloads, a lot of unique listeners, and so we appreciate that. Again, we're all over social media. Go ahead and check us out. We love to interact with you guys. You can chime in, with anything that we've talked about that you want to add to. I know, John, we were talking a little bit about the spring football practice over the weekend. Everyone kind of having their spring days now. High school teams starting to get out on the field a little bit this past weekend and this week. So, we'll talk a little bit more regionally and kind of pull it in a little closer to home with some of our area high schools. There's a lot of teams having great high school baseball seasons right now as well. And so we're going to dive into some of those things because we do want to honor our student athletes, of course, at all levels right here, not just the, college and pro level, of course. But again, the show is catching on. We appreciate that. And we got some other folks that are coming on board with us here very soon that we're very excited about.
Yeah, you know what? I've got a good friend right down the road, John Capone, who has been just been a great friend of mine. I met him right when we moved in. We actually went to school together at Georgia Tech and didn't know it, but he owns I like to call it the neighborhood dive bar. It reminds me a lot of the bars that I used to go to in Buffalo. A lot of great people. You go in, everybody knows your name. Everybody loves to see you and everything. But he's coming on as a sponsor, an advertiser, and we're looking hopefully in the next, in the next month or so, for 3 or 4 weeks, to have a show on location with him, and we have just to let all the fans. And John's a wonderful guy. He's just and I tell you what, Dave. I am losing weight, but.
I wish I could say the same thing for me.
4 or 5 mile radius.
Yeah,
he's got some of the best food, and I will tell you this: he's got the best wings around.
Right.
I mean, his chicken wing. I mean, he's got all types of wings, flavors, and everything that he's done. But he's coming on, and one of the things that we're going to do that he suggested is we're going to do a fundraiser for Georgia Mountains Hospice.
Okay.
And it's going to be kind of in line with the golf tournament.
Yeah.
But I am going to give him a Buffalo Bills jersey, a Georgia Tech jersey, and a Gilmer High jersey, thanks to Coach Standard.
Wow. Yeah.
Coach Standard's going to get me a jersey from LJ, and I've got a good buddy at Tech who's going to give me a jersey.
Okay.
And we're going to raffle all 3 of those off as a package deal to raise money for Georgia Mountains Hospice.
There we go.
And
I love
John's
it.
agreed to do that. And as we get closer, we're going to talk about John's, I haven't had it yet, but he says he makes the best breakfast burrito in East Cobb.
There we go.
And so he's going to have that. And he's also going to be doing bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys for the show. So
there we go, man.
And it's my job to we got to get about 70 or 80 people to show up and show John some love and show the show some love.
There we go, man. I love it. I love people jumping on board with us right here. Of course, we got a lot of great partners, as we've talked about. Our Monday morning quarterback episode of the show brought to you by our friends at Foundation Wealth over in Dalton. We were there live on Friday, actually, for our Friday afternoon show, and got to talk to a couple of folks there. Of course, one of the guys, Eric Bishop, in the North Carolina Chapel Hill Hall of Fame as a high jumper there. Almost made the Olympics, but he was a basketball player as well and did some stuff. He went up against Herb White, the elevator from Decatur, who, of course, played at Georgia and played for the Hawks briefly, and so there was a lot of history there. So we love getting out. We love getting the show out in front of people. We're going to continue to do more of that. Of course, we're going to have our tailgate Thursdays, our Winging It Wednesdays, our theme days. But looking forward to getting down to Bradley's down there in East Cobb, and looking forward to that here the next few weeks. And so, guys like John, different folks jumping on board. We appreciate you guys, and man, we're looking forward to it. We are taking over right here, man. I mean, you talked about it. You got the aura going around you here today, man. You're living with purpose, man. I love it. And and you and I have known each other a long time, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things that makes sense.
Well, I was talking to my wife this morning, and as bad as I'm hurting, I mean, it's hard to explain, and I'm not going to get into it, but my right shoulder feels like a hot knife's being poked into it, every 15 seconds. And apparently over the weekend, I've developed some hip injuries that that's kind of caught me off guard. But, hey, what the hell? I mean, I've been in pain my whole life.
Right,
so
yeah.
I'm trying to do better.
Yeah.
I always, what I've told my kids is that, try to make somebody smile today when you go out somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always,
Good advice.
I really have always kind of lived by that the last 20 or 30 years.
Sure.
That, I'm very blessed, very lucky, healthy, got a great family. And I just want to, be a light in somebody else's life.
Right.
And because you never know who's having a bad day or something's happened. But
Sure.
I want to say one thing, going back to football. Coach Mo is the offensive line coach. He spent 7 years with the UB Bulls,
Right, yeah.
and he's like, "Do you remember going here? Do you remember going here?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dude, this is memory lane."
Right, yeah.
And but to go back to what George Godsey was saying is that he's going to throw 4, 5, 6, 7 different schemes at you, and it takes a pretty special offensive lineman to be able to do all those different things.
Right, yeah. You have a lot of versatility.
Do you
up front.
have the Nick Saban of the 350-pound lineman and playing smash mouth, or do you have the 300-pound lineman that can pull, that
Right.
can,
They
play
can move
smash
and get out in
mouth?
space, yeah.
Yeah, and get out in front of the runner.
Yep.
And he did tell us he's got twins down there. I did not know this. They both have lost about 25 pounds,
Okay.
and they're down to 340.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Hey, that's
So if that
that's
tells you
progress.
anything-
That's still progress, in my book.
Exactly.
So what is your? I mean, what are you trying? You said you're trying to get down though too. I mean, like, what is there a goal weight for you, or I mean, is there anything in particular?
My goal weight is playing weight right now, and that's 310 pounds.
Okay.
And
All right.
I'm not making excuses. When you're hurt, things happen.
Yeah.
Life happens. You put the weight on.
Bradley's happens.
but-
the good food. I mean,
Yeah, no. Look, I'm not making excuses because I'm, me,
Hey,
I
me
love
either,
to
man.
eat.
I'm telling
but
you.
My goal is to get down to playing weight, and if I can get to playing weight, then my next goal is to get down to about 290.
Okay.
And I think I could do it by Christmas. And
Yeah.
and I've got a lot of support. My teammates, that I saw Friday night, they were encouraging, and
Right.
and we're all, there's a few of us that are all in the same goals.
Yeah.
We're all in the same boat, and we're really trying, to do better.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I will say this: the last time I went to the doctor to get shots in my shoulder, my blood pressure was 117/72.
Okay.
And
All right.
I don't think I've seen that since I was born.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while.
Oh,
so
man.
I
That's
am
good.
making progress.
You're making progress, man. That's what it's all about, man. As long as you're moving forward, not standing
That's
still,
right.
man. You're doing something. We're talking about, and obviously the game's wrapping up, and we've brought a little perspective to you, a perspective that you can't get anywhere else. That's the one great thing about having Big John on the show is that he's bringing you an inside perspective there that you don't get anywhere else, being a former professional athlete, two-time All-American at Georgia Tech, of course, former Buffalo Bill, has played in the Super Bowls, proud Gilmer High Bobcat, sporting the Gilmer purple here today, the G. And, of course, you talked about Coach Paul Standard, of course, has done an excellent job at Gilmer High School since coming over from St. Pius after all those years. And so we're blessed with a lot of great football coaches in the area, and so we're looking forward to talking about them as the spring practice conversation continues.
And Dave, there's two more people I want to mention that I think is very important in all high schools. And I'm sorry that I don't know the other schools around the area, but Jacob Callahan and Mark West have done a phenomenal job with the Booster Club and raising money for that program, because we all know you got to raise the money. And when you have a coach like Paul Standard, who has coached in Atlanta and his reputation is beyond, what we can imagine.
Right.
But he's brought a different attitude up there, not only for the school but for the community.
Sure.
And I think he's done a wonderful job. But Mark and Jacob deserve, and I know I'm probably leaving somebody out, but they have done a phenomenal job, with that program and bringing the money, bringing the funds in there to give the kids an opportunity. I mean, Paul's got, I remember, they retired my jersey back when I was playing for the Bills. And I remember Mark West calling me, and he says, "John, I got to ask you a favor." And I'm like, "What?" And I said, "We need to unretire your jersey because we have too many players." And he said, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't have a problem with it, except you better make sure the kid that wears it honors it and does right by it."
Right.
And I said, "I'm good to go."
There's a lot of responsibility with that one.
Apparently every year that's happened, so I'm good.
There we go. I love it, man. As long as they're honoring it, that's all you can ask for there. So again, hey, we appreciate you guys being with us. We're up against our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little NFL draft this week, a couple other things going on in the world of sports. Thanks for joining us right here on this Monday morning quarterback episode of the Morning Rant, weekdays right here live 10 to 11, but also on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com. We are the home of ESPN Radio in North Georgia, and we're back in a moment.
You entrusted your loved one's care to a nursing home, expecting compassion and quality treatment. Instead, they suffered from neglect, abuse, bed sores, falls, or medication errors that could have been prevented. I'm Chris Brown from Geiger Legal Group. Our elderly deserve dignity and proper care, not negligence that causes pain and suffering. When nursing homes fail in their duty of care, we fight to hold them accountable. Your loved one's suffering matters. We'll stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves.
Call Geiger Legal Group at 833-HELP-GLG and let us tell your story today.
Grand Slam! 98.1 and 93.7 The Sports Pig, the official home for the Atlanta Braves baseball. Time to hang it in the Louvre.
Oh, this looks nice.
Our favorite moments from the week in sports here on the Morning Rant.
Back here on a Monday morning quarterback edition of the Morning Rant. Dave Garner back here with you. Again, chopping it up here in this final segment as we get ready to bring you home. Chuck Oliver coming up at the top of the hour. Favorite moments from the weekend. The Atlanta Braves sweeping the Philadelphia Phillies. It doesn't get any sweeter than that. Braves are looking good, dominating for basically all weekend long. Friday night, 9-0 shutout, and then they just continue that momentum. The most beautiful thing all weekend was hearing all those Phillies fans boo all weekend long. I mean, from Friday through Sunday. I'm telling you, man, they are
those fans. When you throw snowballs at Santa, you know you're in for you're in for a bad day.
You probably have some experience playing in front of a Philly crowd, I'm sure, at one point or another. But man, no joke. But big win there. Obviously, you talked about earlier in the show, of course, Fitzpatrick winning the PGA Tour there at Hilton Head. So again, some of our favorite moments from the weekend of sports. Hey, tomorrow right here on the program on our Rally Towel Tuesday edition of the show, it'll be presented by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. We're going to dive more into the Braves, going to talk about the Hawks, again, Game 2 tonight. So we will have a recap of that game for you tomorrow. We'll dive a little bit more into spring football practice and some of the other things going on around the world of sports. We're going to talk WrestleMania as well. And, of course, NASCAR going to mix in some notes. So we'll do that tomorrow right here on the Rally Towel Tuesday Wednesday edition of the show. But, John, again, bringing it back to football for just a moment right there, man. A couple other things to talk about. Spring football, of course, Georgia Tech wrapping things up now as we kind of turn the page and get ready for the season ahead.
Well, just for you, I'm going to try to watch a little bit of the Hawks game tonight.
There you go. I'm not even sure if I'll watch it 100% because I get too frustrated. I don't even know if I'm going to turn it on much. But
exactly.
We'll see.
I've always said start it at 100 and 100 with 2 minutes to go, and then whoever
there you
wins.
go. Exactly.
That's what happens. But I wanted to say a couple of things, to give a couple of shout-outs. My buddy Pete Wellborn and his wife Susan invited me down to the Roundtable and had great conversations with them. Pete was a walk-on at Georgia Tech, great guy, and I'm so thankful that I've been able to develop reconnect our friendship when we got all together with Robert Massey and we developed the Curry Huddle. Curryhuddle.com. Go in there and just see it. And we've gotten like over 500 former players, trainers, managers, administrators, coaches, and everybody. Raised about $400,000 for Brent Key a couple of years ago, and it's been a delight getting back with him. Pete is a great guy. He's a great, successful lawyer in Atlanta. His wife is just as lovely as she can be. But Pete, and I'm going to bring you down, hopefully when we interview Bill Curry.
I was going to say, I want to be there
for our
for that
podcast that we'll talk about in a minute. But Pete has developed a museum in honor of Bill Curry.
Right.
And, dude, it is
You were telling me about that. Yeah, that's awesome.
It's just
man,
lockers, jerseys, articles, pictures. I mean, it gives you chills.
Right.
TV, he's got TVs that have highlights and interviews and everything. Pete, I tell you what, went all out.
Yeah.
And Pete, when he played at Tech, and I didn't know this as much, and I'm going to be honest with you, I love the walk-ons, but we never really talked to them because, I mean, we practiced against them, and to be a walk-on at Georgia Tech special.
Right, yeah.
I can think of many other things that they could be doing, but and Pete was a linebacker. He was a quarterback. He was a great quarterback in high school.
Wherever they needed
the
him.
Macon area.
Yeah.
But he played linebacker. He's like, Coach, whatever you want me to do, let's go.
Yeah.
And but he has he has every playbook. I think he has every sheet of paper from the time that he was an athlete at Georgia Tech is in that museum.
Yeah.
And
that's
the
awesome.
Dude, if there's anybody that loves Bill Curry more, it's him.
Yeah.
You know, and I love him. I mean, he's my coach.
Yeah, there's a lot of, a lot of people don't realize how important those guys, because you're only as good as the guys that you're lined up against giving you the look of the other team, right? And I can appreciate, because I was a scout team my whole life, really. But yeah, I mean, you're in a situation where if you're not getting a good look in practice from the guys, they're not going after you, then it's not going to prepare you as well for what's ahead.
I tell you what, I think today, we have 15, 20, 30 Pete Wellborns.
Yeah.
Back then we probably didn't. But let me tell you something. Pete showed up like it was going to be his last practice. That's just who he is.
Yeah.
He's a competitor. He's beat up too. I can look at him. He's beat up also.
Yeah.
Hell, if you go from quarterback to linebacker, something's wrong upstairs. And for him to be such a great lawyer and a great career, what he's doing. So I wanted to give a shout out to them. But I wanted to tell you, let's see, we got a couple of minutes. I wanted to tell you, I got to spend a little bit more time with Coach Curry on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there, and it's kind of hard because everybody comes up, but I was able to kind of pull them away a little bit and, pretty much say, get the hell out of the way. This is my time with Coach.
Right, yeah.
And we were talking about the NIL, and you and I have talked about this. And I asked him, I said, Coach, could you do it today? And he said, well, if you'd have asked me 3 years ago, I would have said no.
Yeah.
You asked me today, I'll say yes. And I said, I divide it in two things that you and I talked about. I said, you're either a manager or you're a coach.
Right.
And you have to look at it that way because of the money that has come in. Because, listen, I can say it, but you're dealing with kids that are 19 that are making $1 million a year.
Oh, yeah.
They're making more than the assistant coaches are.
Right, yeah.
So, so you have to decide. But Coach Curry's like, I have figured it out. And we couldn't get into it because the roundtable was coming up, and that's going to be another discussion that we'll have. But he said, he says, I can handle it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what about Coach Saban? I said, what happened with that? And he said, well, Nick went to Miami, and he saw how those players were. Yeah. He quickly came back to college. And said, I didn't want a part of that. And when the NIL came, he's like, and it's not an indictment against Nick, it's our Coach Saban, but, I don't think he wanted to deal with it. Yeah. I don't think he had I know he had the drive and the personality, but at 70, do you want to deal with 19-year-olds making $1 million?
Yeah, I think a lot of the old school coaches struggle with that. Yeah, no, I agree. I think you're right.
And some coaches do. Like you said, some coaches do struggle with that.
Yeah, they do. Especially they come from a certain mindset, a certain generation of thought. And everything. So it's definitely tough for that transition to happen right there. Hey, speaking of, we were talking about, the kind of college game becoming the new pro game, and the pro game kind of a retirement game right there. But a lot of lives are going to be changed this week with the NFL draft coming up on deck. Thursday night, man, first round.
I remember, let's see, 1987. How many years is that? 49, 39, almost 40 years.
Yeah.
I remember draft day. I was at home. David Westmoreland, Bunk Elliott, Dad, and a couple of other people were at the house. And I knew I wasn't going to go high. And this is when they had 12 rounds, and this is when they had draft in one day.
Right, yep.
And the week before, week before I was interviewed, and they said, what teams do you not want to go to?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't want to go to Minnesota. I don't want to go to Detroit. And I don't want to go to Houston. And I gave my reasons and everything. And so we had a couple of beers, and, 8 o'clock comes around, 9 o'clock comes around, and I'm just like, I'm going to bed. This is, if I get drafted, great. If I don't, my life's I'm still going to wake up in the morning.
Sure.
And I'm just going to have to work harder to make the team.
Yep.
12:15, Dad comes and wakes me up, and he says, Jerry Glanville from Houston's on the phone. He wants to talk to you. I'm like, okay.
Oh my goodness.
So I get up and I talk to the GM, Mike Holovac, and then Jerry gets on I'm calling him Jerry because I'm going to be honest with you, I do not like him.
Right, yeah, we've talked about that a little bit at length there.
I never had a good relationship with him. And he gets on the phone and he says, John, I coached at Georgia Tech in the early 70s, and I saw your name, and I said, we're going to take a chance on you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And he says, are you happy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I said no. And he's like, well, he didn't know what to say.
He just assumed you would be.
And he says, well, I'm going to give you off to our PR guy, and he's going to give you all the information about flying out for minicamp and all of that. And I'm like, yes, sir. Thank you. Right. And my whole point was Mike Munchak, Bruce Matthews are in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Dean Steinkuhler, one of the greatest college offensive linemen ever, is at right tackle. They bring in Bruce Davis, a longtime Raider, 6'7", 380 pounds.
Yeah.
Nobody's taking his spot.
Right.
And I'm like, here I am. And I'm just like, I'm not going to see the field.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I didn't want to go to Houston.
Yeah.
And but 200. I was just looking up. The draft has changed. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yep. It's a big spectacle now. It's a big show.
257 kids' lives are going to be changed.
Yeah.
My life was changed, and I will tell you this: I think going in the 11th round was divine, or whatever word you want to use. I think it enabled me to get those 8 years in, because I was going to work hard anyway.
Sure.
But it gave me a little bit more motivation.
Oh yeah.
But the money's changed. Practices have changed, teams have changed, but 257 kids, their life's going to change.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll take advantage of it in a positive way, and hopefully they've had the upbringing, whether it be from parents or coaches, that they're going to realize the opportunity they have, because we're talking 257 kids.
Yeah.
You look at the percentages from high school to the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty special.
It really is. And you think about the different jumps along the way. I mean, from high school to college is a big jump really at any level. And then, you look at, the college to the pro level, and then there's so many different guys that don't make it that are just, superior athletes. There's only so many spots, and that's the thing. I mean, of those 257 guys, not all of them are even going to pan out, right? I mean, you're even going to have maybe even just half of them, that end up having a career, So
well, and you're guaranteed in today's world. The top 3 rounds, you're pretty much going to make it because of the money they've invested in you.
Sure.
After that, all bets are off.
Right.
Like you said.
Yeah, it's about work at that point. And so, again, it gets underway Thursday night, round 1 in Pittsburgh. Again, everybody will be on the clock there. The Raiders with the first overall pick. It's assumed they'll take Fernando Mendoza. Again, there's a lot of talk about Jeremiah Love going to the Cardinals. God bless him. He's going
to the Raiders.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens right there, man. I mean, even Pete Carroll was one and done, So, again, it'll be interesting what happens. Hey, John, thanks for being with us again. We're about out of time right here, but fun show, man. You brought it as always, man. I'm excited about the future. Like I said, we're growing. We got more folks coming on board right here on the Morning Rant, and so glad to bring it to you Monday through Friday right here on the dial, but also online on the SportsPig app and online at sportspigradio.com. You got the QR code right there. For those that are watching the video version of the show today on YouTube, John is holding up the QR code for the show.
I wear it everywhere.
And you've got it on a shirt and everything, man. I love it. Yeah, you've got it.
I'm a walking advertising.
Yeah, I love it. And you're pretty easy to see down there on the sideline, So again,
exactly.
Yeah, you got the QR
Wait
code.
till they
right
see
there.
my T-shirt.
Yeah.
Wait till they see the back of my T-shirt. That's what's going to get them.
See, that's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, we get those T-shirts printed. We start walking around. We'll be walking billboards all day long for the show. Appreciate you guys being with us. Yes, sir. As always, right here on the Morning Rant. Again, catch us on social media. The Sports Pig, as always, is on Facebook. Our show, The Morning Rant, is on Instagram. You can also watch full video episodes of the show daily on YouTube. The podcast version of the Morning Rant is also available on sportspigradio.com, our website, and wherever you listen to your favorite daily podcast on both Apple and Android platforms, including Spotify, Podbean, you name it. You can also catch us on Twitter. I'm at Dave Garner77. He's at John Davis _65. John Pops Davis right there on Twitter. Appreciate you guys being with us. Tomorrow, going to break down more of the Braves and the weekend past and the weekend ahead. And of course, that'll be a part of our Rally Towel Tuesday presented by your friends at Geiger Legal Group. We'll also have restaurant inspection scores, all kinds of favorite moments from the weekend, and our segment we like to call Now That's What I'm Talking About. Chuck Oliver up next. There you go, Bobcats. Right there with you. As always, we say, if you don't know, you better ask somebody. We'll see you tomorrow morning right here on the Morning Rant.
Tired of shouting your business's name into the void and getting nothing but crickets? Your brand deserves more than awkward billboard glances and flyers lining bird cages. Right now, listeners are hearing me ramble on instead of your ad. That's a touchdown for missed opportunities and a fumble for your wallet.
Recovered, Atlanta, game over.
Your ad could be here, making fans laugh, cheer, and most importantly, call you. Go to sportspigradio.com or call 678-454-9552 and get your business off the bench and into the game.